Hi, everybody. Welcome here to our continuation of an interview series with Intercom. I am Chris Manson. I work for Mainmatter, and this is the second call that we've had with Intercom about the Embroider initiative. I'll do a quick intro about what the Embroider initiative is. I'm not going to go into too much detail because we've already done that. We've got a blog post, we've got an update blog post, we have the previous video, which we'll probably link to in the description of this one. But for anybody who doesn't know, Embroider is a new build system that we're working on in Ember. And the Embroider initiative is a way that Mainmatter is kind of pulling a bunch of companies together to contribute to allow myself and another engineer to work full time on getting Embroider across the line so that we can everybody in the Ember community can use Embroider, and more specifically we have a goal in mind that we can use modern build tooling like Vite. So that's the background. You can feel free to introduce yourselves. I know we've already done that in the previous call, but if you want to briefly tell people who you are and what you do for Intercom, that would be great.
Cool. I'll just jump in quickly. My name's Cleena. I'm the engineering manager for our front-end team here at Intercom. It's an infrastructure team, so we're concerned about front-end tooling, and we care very, very deeply about the developer experience for the 150 or so people who work on our front-end applications here at Intercom. So that's one of the reasons the Embroider initiative and Embroider itself are super important to us, is because we see it as a way for us to improve that developer experience for our engineers, but also as a way, I suppose, to improve performance of our application. Our application is quite big, so things like tree shaking and static analysis are definitely things we value. But I think on the speaking more broadly, things like the Embroider initiative and are ways for us as a company to give money back to the Ember community. We use Ember a lot. We've used it for years. It's been very valuable to us. So this is a way we can give money and time and investment to the Ember community and invest in its future. Keep it around, helping us for the next 10 years.
I'd like that very much.
I'll jump in, I guess. I'm Aaron. I work with Clean. I'm a staff engineer at Intercom, working on the front-end tech team too. I've been working pretty closely with Chris through the Embroider journey. And I guess I've been most involved in helping get our front-end app, which is quite large, as Cleaner said, onto Embroider.
Okay, cool. So the thing that I didn't say in my introduction is that this initiative has already been running for 6 months. I had to check that before the call. I just had to double check. Has it really been 6 months? It feels like only yesterday we started, but it also feels like we've got 2-3 years worth of work done in those 6 months. So it's been very busy. But I'd like to know, is there something specific about how the initiative has worked out, how it started, how it's been running, that either of you have liked specifically? Is there something that has really helped Intercom?
Yeah, I guess for me, there's a couple of things that have come out of the initiative. So 6 months ago, if we look at where things were at, we had basically one person, Ed, working on this, and all the knowledge was in his brain. So what I've loved about it is seeing a team come together, and it's not just yourself, Chris. We have consistently 10 to 15 people on the Embroider call every week, but driving that behind that is yourself and Andre having full time to start extracting that information out of Ed's brain and get yourself to a point when you're completely autonomous and able to make decisions and understand what's going on in the guts of this quite complex domain, which is amazing. So having this team with some process around it, being able to decide on the future of Embroider and move things forward, as opposed to it being in one person's head, is amazing. So on the other side, having someone in our time zone who is dedicated to this, being yourself, that is motivated to help move this forward and is there to help jump on calls to understand stuff, rubber duck stuff, solve problems. It's just been really awesome, as opposed to filing GitHub issues in a repo for someone on the other side of the world who you don't know when they're working on this. Having someone that's focused on this and in that headspace all the time and motivated to help unblock things, it's just been awesome.
I think I'd echo that. Like, selfishly, from our point of view as a company, obviously, like we're trying to adopt Embroider, and spoiler alert, we have been able to adopt Embroider for our two main applications, including our very large app. But having that ability to reach out to you guys when we have a problem and we're stuck, like as a company, we're trying to ship things, we're trying to get things out there. The speed with which we can get help has been hugely important to us, and been able to unblock some pretty big blockers for us that it would have prevented us from shipping. So that's been a major help for us from the initiative itself. But I echo what Aaron's saying there around the depth of knowledge around Embroider has been spread, which is very good for Embroider generally. But yeah,
I've definitely enjoyed working with both of you directly. Obviously, Aaron, we've sat down and done a lot of the technical things, but Cliona, I definitely rose to the challenge initially of trying to help this kind of extra reporting that you need internally to like say, oh, what have I been doing? Because a lot of the time I'm spelunking deep in the bowels of hard code in Embroider, but like how does that translate to like business needs and things like that? And I've personally enjoyed that challenge, and I think that I've grown a lot in helping communicate those things. But specifically, Aaron, is there anything from the technical side of things that, like, anything that sticks out in your mind of like, oh, this one thing that we got done or we solved, or anything specific that has been really helpful?
I feel like there's been loads of little things. It's been a journey, constantly fixing one thing and seeing what else is broken. And so, like, there have been 1,000 of them. But I guess there was one point there where we were very blocked when there was some updates, I guess, to Embroider that it regressed the build performance, the build speeds by about 10 times for us. And it was a real blocker for us to even kind of keep on pushing forward with that. And so we kind of left that for a bit to see what would happen, and got to a point, and I think we dived in and just worked out what the problem was, and just being able to kind of raise that, and you guys fixed it very, very quickly. It was a one-line change in the end, I think, for a couple of the things, but like those ones stick out in the memory because they were real hard blockers. We were like, we had to pause the stuff we're doing on Embroider for now because we can't even look at shipping this if it's 10 times slower than what it was yesterday. So once that was shipped, that really unlocked us to be able to kind of blast forward, and we ended up shipping Embroider to production last week. And that progress, and that was because of those changes we made fixing those. So those ones probably sticks out of my mind. But there have been loads and loads of little things.
100%. I definitely echo the whole experience of like fixing one thing and then, oh no, there's another bug after that we need to fix. But you both said something now that I want to jump in on a bit more. You've spoiler alert, you said that you've shipped Embroider to your how many engineers did you say you have? 150?
150 who work on the main application. We've more engineers than that, but 150 who regularly work.
And they're all using Embroider now as of last week.
Yeah.
With a few stops and starts, but that must feel pretty good, Aaron.
Yeah, it was awesome. It really felt like a milestone. It's like I was looking back to see the first time we started mentioning Embroider in our GitHub issues, and it was about 4 years ago, where they'd be like, "Oh, Embroider's the new thing. It's on its way. It's not far away. Let's explore it." And it obviously took a little longer than past us had thought it would. So yeah, just looking back at that, it was pretty cool to see it's finally shipped. It was amazing, and it kind of felt like the Embroider initiative really kind of ramped up in the last couple of months, and it feels like we didn't actually expect to be where we are today. It really feels like things have ramped up really fast, and we got there, which is awesome. It's a great feeling. It's only the start.
Well, so this is my next question. It's like we have had all of this momentum. We've gotten you to the point where you're starting to use Embroider, but it's only the compat mode at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's one or two of the static flags enabled.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have this momentum now, what is it? What do you want to use that momentum for? What's the next thing that you're desperately wanting out of the Embroider initiative?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear for us. In our scenario, build times is a massive thing. Across 150 engineers working on this, where we have really great monitoring around how much time our folks are spending building things, and we've squeezed pretty much all the juice we can out of the existing tool set to lower that. And I think Veet is basically our savior there. So now that we've got it shipped, we're full steam ahead to get the static flags turned on, see how that reduces things. But ultimately, Veet is where we want to be. We want to be removing the custom Ember stuff and start to use these modern ecosystem tooling that just hopefully should give us loads better speeds. That's where we're headed for.
That's probably what we're saying. That's one of our main goals, like Veet, definitely. And then we hope, as well as getting those developer experience benefits, we might get some performance benefits then for our end users as well. You can imagine, we've been building our app for 9 years, 150 people a year working on it. It ain't small. It's something like 1.5 million lines of code. So, things like splitting the bundle up, doing, static analysis will obviously remove a load of code first that's not used. We can look at things like route splitting and things like that, and get nice performance boosts for our end users as well.
We've recently been doing some memory leak detection, and one of the engineers was doing some investigation where he kind of had a blank page, removed all the components off it, nothing was on there, and literally just loading that page, there was about 100 megabytes of memory used. So there's a lot of stuff in there that is loaded that's not needed. So route splitting and things like that, and tree shaking are going to be super beneficial to our end users' experience for sure.
Yeah.
And they are just around the corner, hopefully, if we can keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
But on that point, we are I'd say halfway, but we're 6 months into this initiative now. We're at the point right now where we're trying to encourage other companies to contribute to the initiative, to get on board, and even if they wanted to, they could have these 2-hour pairing sessions that Aaron and I have every week. Is there something that, either Kleena from a project perspective or Aaron from a technical perspective, is there anything that you would have to say to any company who's maybe on the fence about joining the initiative, and they're maybe hovering over the signing on the dotted line, and they want to, but they're not sure?
I think from the more the project level kind of thing, it comes back to that community investment. I think Embroider is crucially important for the Ember community, crucially important for it. And the Embroider initiative has been very, very successful over the last 6 months of driving the momentum forward. It's Embroider's been worked on for years, very, very dedicatedly by Ed, but expanding the group of people who can work on it has massively moved forward the capabilities of Embroider. It's, as you yourself know, because you're in the depths of it, there's some pretty tricky stuff coming up, and it needs that continued investment. And if we can get Embroider to a really good end state for the community, it drives Ember forward. And having that ability then to work with you guys when we're really truly stuck, being able to reach out and ask for help has been really, really useful. And having you guys there, and you really understand the code base, that's been very crucial from a project point of view.
Yeah, I'll echo Kleena's statements. I think our use case is quite extreme in terms of the size of the app and the rebuild speeds, and a lot of people maybe don't have those sorts of issues yet. They will as they grow, I imagine. But it's more than just that. There's the technical side, what's as Kleena said, it's crucial for Ember's future and success to start moving to the modern JavaScript ecosystem, just as everyone else is. We've done solved a lot of great problems over the years, but things have moved forward, and a lot of the problems that we solved back then aren't problems anymore, but we still carry some of that baggage, and this sort of work is what allows us to jettison those things that are kind of holding us back, and start to, like, we shouldn't need to worry about hot module replacement and things like that, because the tools in the ecosystem, the standard tools that most frameworks use, do all that stuff for us, so we can remove a whole category of things that we don't need to worry about anymore, we don't need to maintain, and we have a whole much wider community we can start embracing and leaning on, and that, I think, is super duper important, and that affects everyone. That's how we sort of push Ember into the modern world, and really give it a bright future.
Awesome, well said. I think that's it, really. This is what I wanted to hear. I wanted to kind of get your opinion on it, and really the point of this is to try and inspire people who are, as I said, sitting on the fence, who are not sure. We do need people to contribute. It's the future of Ember, the things that we want. They're very shiny tools that are just around the corner that we can all use if we have the people committing and contributing to the initiative. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm real8, that's real_ate at mastodon.social, or you can just email me directly, that's chris.manson@mainmatter.com. If you actually do want to contribute to the initiative, you probably want to talk to my boss, Marco. He's also all over the internet. You'll probably be able to find him, or I can pass on details if you reach out to me. Aaron, Cleana, thank you so much for this. This has been brilliant, and I look forward to continue working with you on the initiative.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
thank you, mate. It's been great. Looking forward to the future.